Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Now, before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so this this episode started off with a bang. They came in and did the thing. So I think this is going to be a good little series. So we're going to go ahead and I will introduce you to the cast, and then we'll go into the review of it all. I won't go into much details about the cast when I just introduce them, because we'll get into it as we're going into the episode. So we have Alicia. She's actually who we start the episode off with. She's one of the nucleus of the group. I think it's between her and Liz. Everybody knows them, which is how they all are tied into each other. We have Ashley. She is, I think Ashley's the one who's married. She was on The Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise, so she's married. She married her husband from there. Then we have Joe Ellen, and Joe Ellen is, yeah. We're going to get to her. We have Kelsey. I can't wait till I get to this review, because, whoa, these ladies got some things. Because Kelsey, ma'am, mama. No, ma'am. But if you like it, I love it. We got Liz, and again, she's one of the nucleuses. I think she's the oldest of the crew. We have Rosie, and I will say Rosie and Kelsey, they look alike to me. A lot of these ladies look alike, so if I get them confused, I apologize. We have Rulla. We don't see her in the first episode, but we will see her in the second episode. And then, of course, there's Dolores. I think she's a friend of, and she's a friend of Liz's. I don't think she's a full-time cast member, because I think she's, if I'm not mistaken, I think she's a full-time cast member of New Jersey, or maybe she's a friend of New Jersey. I don't know. But she's only in Rhode Island for the summer anyway. So I don't think she'll be popping in here and there or whatever. All right. So those are the ladies of I was going to say Salt Lake City. Yeah, my bad. Of Rhode Island. So now let's go ahead and get into the review. So we start the episode off meeting Alicia, and she is at home with her daughter, who's her mini-me, and her family is coming over for dinner. Her husband owns a bunch of restaurants in Rhode Island, and I think his name is Rich. I could be wrong. Or no, I think his name is Gary. Because there's a Gary and a Gary. I'll remember. So she, so her family's coming to visit her, and they're complaining about the drive. So when she was 8 months pregnant, she moved to Providence with her fiance or whatever. Not even her husband. My bad. That's not her husband. That's her fiance. So when, they were, or she was 8 months pregnant, she moved there. And she used to live in Cranston, Rhode Island, which is a 15-minute drive. And her family is complaining about that 15-minute drive from Cranston to Providence. And I was just like, y'all wouldn't want to live in Texas. Because a 15-minute drive is light work. Like 15 minutes is like up the street. Like that is light work for us. A 30-minute drive, and that's without traffic. Child, 15 minutes. I wish I could get to and from work in 15 minutes in Texas. But yeah, that's light work. So they complaining about that. They get there. Their family is funny. So they was in a car. Like right before they got out the car, they were taking swigs of drinks. And I was just like, these ladies are a mess. So her family gets there, and they're talking about a wedding and how they should have a wedding at the house that they live in, because their house is really nice. And I will say, for the most part, most of these ladies have nice houses. So So the house is really nice. They're talking about they should have the wedding there. And then we find out that when she was 7 months pregnant, um, Gary, whatever his name is, proposed to her, and that was 9 years ago because their daughter is 9. I mean, she ain't going nowhere at this point, girl. Where you gonna go? Because 9 years. But hey, if you like it, I love it. So, oh my goodness, I was like, I had to rewind it because I was just like, wait, did she say he proposed when you were 7 months pregnant, and that was 9 years ago? What is we on? Like, so her family owns a bakery and a pizzeria, and they're well known in Rhode Island. So they're I want to say she's Italian. I think she's Italian. So, she's known, like, she got money, he got money, they good. So that's why she's not going nowhere. So then we meet, and I apologize, that was Liz. So then we meet, um, I'm sorry, that was Alicia. That's who we were talking about. Then we meet Liz, and her house is beautiful as well. We meet her husband. So her husband's name is Jerry with a G. And they met at a bar, and they met at a bar. They fell in love. They got married. They were about 6 months married, and then they found out that they were related somewhere down the line, because that's when 23andMe became popular and all this other stuff. So they did the ancestry DNA or whatever, and then they find out that they're related somewhere down the line. Yeah, you heard me. They're related somewhere down the line. So he has 3 daughters, from a previous relationship. So when they got together and they got married, he had full custody of his girls. So she was insta mom, and she wasn't ready for that. But they grew, and they all love each other, and she loves being their mom. So they own a cannabis dispensary. Um, they own a cannabis dispensary, and that's how they make their money. And they like boating. And these people are wealthy. So she's about to go meet Kelsey at a restaurant, and she decides to take her boat or her dinghy to get to the restaurant, because it's just like right across the way or whatever. So she hops in her dinghy and drives it over there. And I was just like, where do they do that? Clearly in Rhode Island. So we meet Kelsey. So again, Liz meets Kelsey at the restaurant, because she came in her little speedboat. They talk about 4th of July and what they're gonna do or whatever, because it's about to come up. And Kelsey is just like, oh, her boyfriend isn't going to be in town, and she's used to it. So then we find out that she's been dating her boyfriend for 10 years. And she's been living the life. Her home is 16,000 square feet, 4 kitchens, 79 TVs. Their bedroom is actually in a different zip code. That's how big their house is. Sorry. She doesn't show her boyfriend. Like when they show pictures, it's like his face is cut out. They don't show who her boyfriend is. Ooh, I'm so sorry, y'all. When she shows the pictures, they don't show who her boyfriend is. The face is cut out. She doesn't mention his name, but of course, Twitter, they found a boyfriend. Since she didn't say who he was, I'm not gonna say who he is, because honestly, I forgot. But yes, so she tells us that his family is one of the most prominent families in Rhode Island. And he's allowed her to live a life of not being, he's allowed her to live a life of not working. So she's been living this life of leisure, and she loves it. She met him when she was 19. They made out for 2 hours straight, and then they started dating. He's the reason that she became Miss Rhode Island. He's like, not that he gave her the title, but he pushed her to enter into the competition and do all of that. And then she became Miss Rhode Island. So she loves that. He's a good person and a good man. And for 5 months out of the year, he's gone. He dates multiple people. The first half of the year, he's in Miami and he's with somebody else. So for 6 months out of the year, your boyfriend is in a whole nother state with a whole nother relationship while you are living in his 16,000 square feet home with no kids, no pets. It's just you and his living assistant. So because I think he has a live-in cleaning lady or whatever. But yeah, that's all in that big old home. So she says she's hitting 30 and she wants more for herself. She wants to be in a committed relationship with one person, but at his age, he isn't changing because we find out that again, she's about to be 30, so she's young. Liz knows the guy because they grew up together. So, and she's older than Liz. I'm gonna find their ages, but Liz is older than Kelsey, so he's older than her. So again, at his age, you've been letting him do this for 10 years, so of course he's not going to change at this point. So she's saying, she's hitting 30. She wants to have kids. She wants to be with one person. And again, at his age, he isn't changing. Either she's going to accept it or she has to leave because he's not going to go anywhere. Because honestly, why would he? He's living the best life. He got you for 6 months. He got somebody else for 6 months. Neither one of y'all are complaining, clearly. And he's just doing his own thing. But child, okay, girl. So, she says she's telling Liz, because she does tear up a little bit, and she's telling Liz that the good outweighs the bad. Of course it does. Like, you're living in a 16,000 square foot home. You want for nothing. So of course the good is going to outweigh the bad. But does it really? Because you're at 30 and you are now contemplating if you want to leave or if you're going to stick there. So clearly it must not outweigh it. If you're debating on what you want to do now, because he ain't trying to give you no kids. So when she first started dating him, she was in his life however he wanted her to be, and she was never in control of that. So because she was never in control, she never had a say so in it. This is where it is. So she was just like, she was okay with it before, but now not so much. She loves him and now she doesn't know what to do. So it's just like, we're here at this point. This is where she's at. So she's trying to figure out what's next for her. So we meet Joellen, and she's at lunch with her husband, and his name is Gary. So Alicia's husband is Rich, if I'm not mistaken. So we meet Joellen and her husband. They met in high school. He was a senior and she was a freshman. She thought he was hot, but he never paid her any mind. She would always walk by his locker and always say hi, always say hi. He would never pay her no mind. And then one day he said hi to her and he was just like, "Oh, you're Jen's little sister." And she says Jen was in love with him. Child, Joellen. She says she said her sister was in love with him, but she wanted him. So she chased him till she got him. And now they're married. And from what I gathered, her sister was dating this man. Because they show pictures of her sister hugged up on him, and Liz makes mention of, she's friends with Jen because Jen is in her age. And I don't know, because I was just like, wait, are you telling me you stole your sister's man? Because what? But yeah, so they talk about their wedding because they're at this place and they're looking, like, you can see the sunset or whatever, and they're talking about their wedding, and she's saying that she doesn't really talk to any of the girls from her wedding party, and he's just like, "Oh, I still talk to my guys." And I was just like, "You messy, you are so messy." And she says that her mouth always gets her in trouble, and she doesn't know why anyone tells her anything, because people will tell her stuff and they'll tell her not to say anything. And of course, she's not going to say anything. She's only going to tell her best friend, which is Kelsey and Liz. And she tells them not to say anything. But if they say anything, then it's on them. And it's just like, ma'am, no, it's still on you, because they told you not to say anything, and you still want to say something to somebody who, why would you go talk? Child, whatever. So she she says she comes off scary, and that she comes off scary and she can be a bitch, but she isn't. We about to see. So she has 3 kids, 10, 3, and 1. She works in aesthetic sales. It's not aesthetic. I can't say the word, y'all. I'm sorry. Child, she works in sales. So basically, her counterpart sells the product, and then she goes and shows them how to use the product. So it's like devices, like she works with like surgeons, plastic surgeons, and all of that. So it's just like those like the the laser removal things and stuff like that. That's what she sells. All that different type of stuff, because she works with all those different types of people. So that's what she does. So we meet Rosie, and she's meeting with Alicia at her house, and they're about to go do some type of workout. But it was like they were on rollerblades, but it wasn't rollerblades. They were bouncy. So they were just walking up and down, bouncing on them or whatever. But it is a form of exercise, I guess. So Alicia has known Rosie for 2 years. She says she's, she has fun with her. She also knew of Rosie because Rosie was a news anchor. So we meet, and see, I messed it up again. My bad. So Rosie, we find out Rosie, she's married to, her husband's name is Rich. So I don't know what Alicia's husband's name is, y'all. My bad. So Rosie's husband's name is Rich. They've been married for a year. He does a bunch of things that brings them in money. He flips houses. He DJs. He does wedding parties. Like he sings at weddings and stuff like that. He bringing in the money. If she like it, I love it. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that, because I mean, you flipping houses, you making money. Like, there's different things that you could do to make money. Especially in Rhode Island. It looks like they be living the life out there. So she talks about her lifestyle. Like she's doing like on the weekends she does lifestyle content. So she has like a YouTube where she does lifestyle. She partners with businesses, and they like she partners with the local businesses, and she shows them like on, how do I say this? She gives them a platform to showcase what they do around the area. That's basically what her thing is. So she's having a picnic this weekend for a charcuterie board company, and they're going to supply food for the picnic that she's going to have, and she's going to, tape it and then, put it out or whatever. So she invited a few of the ladies. She invited Alicia, Rosie, and Ashley. Yes, she invited Alicia, Rosie, and Ashley. And Alicia, Joellen. I'm sorry, because this is Rosie that we're talking about. So she invited Alicia, Joellen, and Ashley. So she's worried. She's worried about Joellen coming because she wonders if she's gonna be nice, and Alicia's just like, probably not. So we find out that Rosie met Joellen through Alicia, since again Alicia grew up with her. Joellen, Kelsey, and Liz, they're a clique, and she wants to be and to get in with them, you have to get in their clique or something like that. And Rosie wants to be friends with everyone. No, she says if you want to be friends with everyone, you have to be a part of the friend group. And she has to be friends with Joellen, but Joellen has a reputation. Joellen recently had an event where she had invited all the ladies over to the house just to, chill and relax or whatever. And Joellen had said some shady things about Rosie, but she didn't think that Rosie heard, but Rosie heard it. So, she's feeling a way about her. They talk about Joellen and the different rumors that are surrounding her. So, again, there's a rumor about her stealing her sister's man, and then also that she's a swinger. Like, there's different rumors about Joellen and and her and her husband or whatever. Um, we find out. Let's see. Yeah, because so Rosie had asked her if she had asked Alicia if Joellen was a swinger, and she was just like she didn't know. She's known Joellen since middle school. She's known Joellen since she was in middle school because she was best friends with Joellen's sister. That's who was friends with Joellen's sister. Um, Not Liz. Sorry. So Alicia was friends with Joellen's sister, and she's close with Gary because they all were in high school together. But she says she's not as close as he and Jen were. And so they ask her, what do they mean? And she says they had a thing in high school. So again, this is where it was just like, so did you steal your sister's man? We don't know. So we get to see Rosie filming for the picnic, and Joellen and Alicia show up, and Joellen is, being being shady. She ain't want to come. She only came because Alicia asked her to. She's not a fan of Rosie. She makes a remark about her filming and makes a dig about her YouTube. So she looks at the YouTube and she was just like, oh, she only has 30 views. Oh man, now she has 31. I gave her a view or whatever. And it was just like, girl, whatever. So they go down to the beach so that they can meet Rosie and see what they're gonna do. So then we meet Ashley, and Ashley is the one who she's married to Jason. They met again on Bachelor in Paradise. They've been married for 6 years. They have 2 kids, and she's been in Rhode Island for 4 years. But she hasn't found a friend group because being from Rhode Island, if you didn't grow up here, then you're an outsider and everyone looks at you some type of way. And she's just like, I've never met someone so proud of being from the state that they're from. And it was just like, okay, girl. So I guess, since everybody knows everybody, her coming in is just like, we not feeling it with her. So she brought she brought Rosie Dunkin' Donuts. And Rosie was so excited. So I'm guessing, is Dunkin' Donuts, is that from Rhode Island? Girl, I don't know. So let's see. So okay, so this is where we get down to the nitty gritty. So Rosie asked so they're all at the picnic table. Rosie had got them gift bags with gifts and treats in there in the gift bags or whatever. She tells them about it. They all go sit down to, enjoy or whatever. So Rosie asked them, what they did yesterday. And Joellen says, oh, Kelsey came by and she's going through a lot. She doesn't know what she wants to do with her future. So Rosie asked, is it like a personal change? And Joellen was like, yeah, I think she's, she doesn't know. I don't know. Then she says, she's 31 and she wants to make it. She doesn't know. I don't know. She's a doll though. And I was just like, okay, so it's about to pop off of this little scene right here. It's about to pop off. And girl. So they say, let's play Never Have I Ever. So they're playing Never Have I Ever. One of the first one was, I've never done butt stuff. I've never done threesomes. Then Rosie says, I've never been a polygamist. So Alicia wants to know what a polygamist is. So Rosie explains it. And then she says, I thought that's what Kelsey was. And she was like, doesn't she have a boyfriend here? And her boyfriend isn't. She has one boyfriend here and a boyfriend in Florida. And Joellen was just like, well, you should ask her. And Rosie says, I would love to. So she's confused. She's like, there's so many rumors, and she just wants to know. So Joellen is in her confessional, and she's just like, this is what bothers her about Rosie. She's constantly talking ish about everyone. And I'm just like, I don't I didn't think this was talking ish. This was, we're having conversation. You opened the door for this conversation, but I didn't think that was talking ish about somebody. I'm just asking a question. Now, if I said, "Oh yeah, she got X, Y, and Z, and she this, and that," then that's talking ish. But if I'm like, "Well, doesn't she have?" That's me asking a question. That's me asking clarifying questions. It's not talking ish, but I digress. So, Alicia wants to know, who does she spend holidays with? Does she gets multiple gifts because she has a boyfriend here and a boyfriend there? So Rosie chimes in again, and at this point it was just like, girl, leave it alone, because Joellen already done she clocking tea, and she don't like you, and you could tell she don't like you, so just leave it alone. Don't say nothing else. So Joellen tells her, you always talking um tells her, you always talking, and if you have a question, ask. I don't know, I don't get that, but okay, whatever. So Rosie's in her confessional, and she says, I'm nosy Rosie. I have questions and follow-up questions. I'm a reporter. What do you expect of me? And I was just like, exactly. I'm nosy too. I be wanting to know what's up. So Rosie tells Joellen, I heard you talking ish about me. She says, I heard you talking ish about me at your party when we were at your house. And Joellen says, no, I didn't. No, she says, that's not true. She says, then Rosie says, when we were at your house, you were talking ish about me to Kelsey. You didn't think that I heard, but I was sitting right there. You were talking ish about the wine that I brought. And then Joellen says, well, it was very cheap. So were you talking ish or were you not? One of these things aren't like the other. So Rosie says, you said I was evil and children wouldn't like me. Then Joellen says, I don't think I said that to your face, but I do feel that way. So again, were you talking ish or were you not? Because that sounds like you were talking ish and you didn't think that she heard you. So, Rosie says, if you don't want me to talk about the ish that you've done to me, then stop doing things to me. Why did you come to my picnic? I wouldn't have wasted 1K on your bag. Joellen tells her, shut the F up. And I'm just like, dang, how did we get there? Like, wow. So Rosie says, I invited you here as an olive branch and you're being mean. Joellen says, I don't know what victim card you're trying to play right now. And Rosie says, you're being mean, and she starts to cry. And I was just like, girl, what? Where is your backbone? Why are you crying? Because girl, stand up. Like, girl, what is we doing right now? Like, you was really crying? Rosie, you were supposed to be my fave. Why is you crying? Why is you backing down like this? I was truly, utterly disappointed with Rosie. I'm acting like I've been seeing these ladies for so long. It's only been episode 1, and I was already like, girl, Rosie, stand up. So, oh man. So they decide to start over. Joellen invites her to her 4th of July party. And Rosie was just like, she wants everybody to like her and all this other stuff. And it's just like, girl, you're gonna have to let that go, because not everybody gonna like you. Not everybody gonna like you. So we see Ashley. She's now at the coffee shop with her husband that they both own. He spends all of his time there, and she's like, she's trying to talk to him and tell him what happened at the picnic, but he's like, he's trying to do work. He's making coffees and telling the people come get your order. So he's really not paying attention. She gets flustered and she starts to cry because she feels like, he's not, she wants to have fun with him, but she can't because he's so focused on the job, on the coffee shop or whatever. And she made some mention about her coffee shop being the number 2 most, the second celebrity something child, I don't know, next to Bon Jovi or something like that. I forgot what it was. But yeah, I forgot what it was, but I don't know. Child, I don't remember. She made it seem like it was a big deal, but I don't think it was. But I mean, to her it was a big deal. So I that's why I was trying to remember, but I can't. But anyways, so she cries, he apologizes, he's gonna do better. So we see everyone getting ready for the 4th of July party. Um, Joellen, because it's Joellen's 4th of July party, she rented a house for the party. And she talks about she doesn't know what the 4th of July is for. So she's throwing a party for a holiday that she doesn't know why it's a holiday. You are too old to not know about certain holidays. And if you don't know about said holiday, Google is free. You are too old to act like you don't know how to work Google or Yahoo or Bing. Whatever you want to use, you are too old to act like you don't know how to use it. But whatever. So her mom comes over to watch the kids because it's a kid-friendly event. And she's, she says her mom and her grandma, they mothering skipped a generation for each of them. So she hopes that she's a good mom. So she didn't have a good relationship with her mom because her mom thought she was a bad kid and did some stuff like didn't treat her right, basically, is how she's feeling about her mom. So she's worried about her mom watching her kids. She thinks she's a good grandmother, but again, because she wasn't a good mom, she doesn't think that she'll be able to watch the kids the way that she wants her to watch the kids. So she's going to be checking up on them. So we see they head to the house. We see Ashley and Rosie, and they're in the car with their husbands, and they're on the way to the party. And Rosie brought some fireworks and a $60 bottle of champagne because the last bottle of wine that she brought was only $6. Y'all was in the house, first of all. And this wasn't this was just this is just child, whatever. So again, Rosie wants everyone to like her, even though she knows it's unrealistic. She's gonna keep trying, and it's just like, girl, I'm gonna need you to get rid of that by episode 3 because it ain't gonna happen. So they're at the party. Alicia's the first to arrive. Liz comes with Dolores, who again, she's from Jersey. Liz and Dolores look alike. We find out that they went to the same doctor and the same dentist, so they got the same work done, which is why they low-key look alike. Kelsey is there. She's known Joe Ellen since high school. Joe Ellen was working at the tanning salon that Kelsey's friend used to work at, and Joe Ellen was hooking up with the owner, and then she started hooking up with the owner and his wife. So that's a rumor why people think that she's a swinger. So they all head off. Alicia, Liz, Dolores, Kelsey, and Joe Ellen, they head off to go and talk, and then Rosie shows up in red. She's in all red, just like Joe Ellen. So they Ashley asked her, do you think Joe Ellen's gonna be pissed that you're dressed like her in all red? And it was just like, unless if the invite didn't say don't wear red, that girl can't be mad that she wore red because it's a 4th of July party. You're either wearing red, white, or blue. Those are the choices. Um, so Alicia goes to greet Joe not Joellen. Alicia goes to greet um Rosie and Ashley. And I was just like, Joellen, this is your party. You should have been the one to go and greet them because they're coming to your party. But I digress. So she goes to meet them, and Joellen tells Dolores, Kelsey, and Liz about what happened at the picnic. And Kelsey is just like, oh, she wants to ask a question. She can come. She can come and ask me. Dolores wants to know, like, is there a reason why your relationship is a topic of conversation? And so she breaks down a little bit and says, it's just gossip or something like that. And it's just like, girl, it's not gossip because you told us in the beginning of the episode exactly what they were asking, but whatever. So they go up because Joe Ellen finally goes to greet Ashley and Rosie. And Rosie gives her the gifts, and Joellen is just like, uh, these aren't gifts that I would bring, but okay. And it's just like, what you mean? There's fireworks. You're at a 4th of July party. Why wouldn't you? It's you don't like Rosie, so no matter what she does, you're not gonna like her. So it's just like, Rosie, stop trying with this girl. You're gonna have to stop trying. So Rosie and Alicia are talking. Um and Kelsey comes up, and she was just like, hi. And then she starts talking to Alicia, and Rosie says hi to her, and Kelsey just ignores her. And so Rosie walks away. And then as soon as Rosie walks away, that's when Kelsey wants to bring up, oh, I heard y'all was talking about me and y'all had questions. What's the question? And it was just like, the girl who had the question was standing right there beside you. She said hi to you, and you didn't say nothing to her. You waited until she walked away to then try to make it seem like you Billy badass, and you not, because she was standing right in your face. If you could have asked her, oh, I heard you had a question. What was the question? But you ain't that big and bad like you portraying to be. But whatever. So Alicia tells her, um Alicia's like, just like, oh, we were just wondering. Liz comes over, and they start talking about it. And Liz is just like, well, who's asking? And Alicia's just like, everyone's asking. And we know, Liz is protective of Kelsey because she feels like they're the most alike. And it's just like, nah, not really. Because you Billy badass. She's not. She's using you as protection. Because as soon as you came over, that's when she wanted to get that in her step or whatever. So Joanna calls to check on her kids, and they're fine. Um, we also find out that Joellen used to date, because they have a person who's there who draws the caricatures. And they're drawing one of not Rosie, of Joellen and Kelsey, and we find out that Joellen used to date Kelsey's boyfriend's brother. Yeah. um Kelsey is then telling Joellen that she hasn't talked to Rosie yet, but she did talk to Alicia, and she knows with Alicia it's not coming from a bad place. But Alicia's not all there. I was just like, what? But yeah, I was just like, yeah, Alicia's just she's flighty, but I like Alicia. So we see Dolores and Liz, they're doing their caricatures. And again, that's when we find out they went to the same doctor and they have the same dentist. Then we see Kelsey and Rosie finally talking. So Kelsey wants to know what was said. Rosie initially tries to play it off, and then Kelsey asks, well, what is it she was just like, well, what was said about my relationship? And so oh no, Kelsey said, was there anything said about my relationship? And Joellen says, Rosie says, well, Joellen brought it up. And she was just like, wait, what? And she was just like, yeah, she brought it up. She said that y'all were going through a hard time and I was just questioning stuff. And then Joellen comes and interrupts them so they can go do their sparklers. So we see the girl, we see not Rosie, what's her name? What's his Kelsey in her confessional saying she doesn't know who to trust and da 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 whatever. And then we get the little montage of them saying something, each one of them saying something, and then we get the what's to come this season. So it was a good episode. They came in hot. We started off swinging and I loved it. I think this is going to be a good one, but only time will tell. But make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.